Hello, you hottie hot hotties, and welcome back to Wild&T with Teddy.
Sarah.
And Tawni.
Welcome to Wild&T. Did you miss us?
Of course they did.
Of course. Is that even a question?
We are going to start off this episode with a little trivia with Teddy, playing I Should Have Known That game. This should be interesting, and that's hilarious that that's the title because people say that all the time when they're like, I should have known that.
All right, well, let's see what we've got then.
Okay, so it's pretty simple. I ask a question, you say yes or no, and I'll let you know if you're right or not. So, first
yes
question.
or no answer. That's nice.
You like multiple choice?
Yeah.
Or just guessing the random fact? Okay, yes
I feel
or
like
no?
I have way more confidence in my yes or no's. So,
Is the constellation Cassiopeia shaped like the letter W?
yes.
Yes.
Tawni, are you just copying Tara's answer?
Yes. She's really confident when she said it.
See, I told you. Yeah. I told you I have confidence with yes or no questions.
Well, you both got it right, so give yourselves a point. So, do penguins prefer to drink salt water?
I actually just read this thing today that they have this gland behind their eyeball that transfers the salt water to fresh water when they drink it.
Do they prefer to drink?
Yeah, have you ever asked a penguin what its favorite drink is?
Body, not about their body. Like, yes, we can drink whatever. We can drink tap water, but we prefer sparkling.
No one prefers sparkling.
Well, I'm gonna say no if it like transmit. What is that? Makes it fresh water. I'm gonna say no.
Tara?
Wait, what was the question? I forgot how to answer it. No, I forgot how it was framed.
Do penguins prefer to drink salt water?
No.
That is correct. And it does say they do take some in when eating their prey, but they have a gland that filters out the salt. Look at Tawni. Wow.
I told you random facts up in here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give 2 points to Tawni on that one and 1 point to Tara. So good job, both of you. Is the month of July named after Julius Caesar?
No.
Yes.
Okay, we have our first split answer. The answer is actually yes. So, fun fact, before, I think it was before the Roman Empire, and I remember just reading about this one time. There used to only be 10 months in the year, and then they added 2. And can you guess what the other month was that they added?
August.
Yeah. Look at you. July and August were added later in the world, I guess, as far as monthly calendars. So, yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Is it summer when the Earth is closest to the sun?
Yes.
I don't want to feel stupid. Just tell us you're right, okay? And then tell us wrongly.
You have to guess.
Just tell us if we're right. If we're wrong, just lie. I don't want to be stupid.
Wait, give me a minute. I need to do something on my phone.
Jeez. Text me the answer.
Okay, I'll ask the question one more time. Is it summer when the Earth is closest to the sun?
Is this you trying to sway us from our original answer? Like this?
Wait, did you both answer yes?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought I was waiting for your answer, Tara. So the correct answer is actually no. The seasons are determined by the inclination of the Earth's axis. The Earth is closest to the sun in January and farthest in July.
I'm pretty sure the scientists are wrong. Just gonna throw that out there.
It kind of makes sense that further away we would have longer days, right?
I guess.
Because if it's further away, then I'm gonna look stupid explaining this. So never mind.
Let's move on. I don't like this question.
We all failed. I thought it was yes.
I don't like looking dumb on my own podcast.
It's fine. We can laugh at ourselves.
Definitely, we'll figure this one out later.
Okay, are diamonds the hardest naturally occurring substance on Earth?
Substance?
That's
Substance.
on Earth.
You have
Not
to
like
clarify
metal.
what substance. I mean, they are the hardest gem, but the
So,
hardest substance?
Like metal,
there
like
are-
of any of the substances of the elements, I guess.
I'm gonna say yes still.
The hardest substance?
Well, hard pan is probably the hardest.
That one's tricky. That one's tripping me up. I mean, you can use diamonds to cut pretty much anything.
Yeah.
But
Yes or no, Tara? Yes or no?
Is it the hardest naturally occurring substance on Earth? Is the question.
yes.
Then you are both correct. So yeah, it is.
Thank you for that.
It is. I was going to say vibranium is technically the hardest one.
Yeah.
but it's a
I
different
was like,
universe.
out there.
No,
But that's
diamonds
like
are the
men's influence.
Okay, this will be our last question. Does Alaska have a longer coastline than all the other U.S. states combined?
Oof, I've been asked this
State
question before.
specifically.
Yeah,
The
United
other longest, the only longest one. Wait, does Hawaii count? Are they counting that as like one long one, or because California's is pretty long?
I think since Hawaii
think
is an island, it probably isn't being counted because
Yeah,
that would
Alaska has
probably
a lot more like curves and stuff, so it's not like a straight line. It's kind of like how California is almost. So yes,
I'm gonna say yes.
You are both correct, and you both win $1 million
Yay.
in the future from someone else. That's not.
when you win the lottery, congrats.
Good job. That was good.
That was
Thank
good.
you.
I only felt dumb once. Even Julie
I felt a little extra smart, and then I got knocked back down by that sun one.
yeah, I was feeling good. And that sun one, I'll be honest, they change facts about the sun all the time. So you can't really trust them. It's like what food is good for you, you know?
Mm.
You know what I'll talk about next time, which I should have talked about this time, is my researching on rock, paper, scissors so that we can give other people a jump on the game. So
yeah.
stay tuned for the next segment next time.
Yeah. Exclusive how to win at rock, paper, scissors and win at everything.
The psychology behind
hanger for that one.
Speaking of psychology, I'm pretty sure the psychology of what temperature people drink water at is a psychological thing. I'll be honest. It's really interesting how some people prefer room temperature water to drink. Some people like cold. Some people like iced. And it's odd how some people don't like iced, but whatever.
So, well,
Obviously-
I actually saw this thing on that, and it was like a post somewhere, and it said something to the effect of real water drinkers don't drink it with ice. And I was offended at that because I live on water. I drink primarily water. Only occasionally do I drink other things, and I absolutely prefer my water iced.
I love that you got offended by that. You're like, and that was a personal attack on me.
That's offensive.
It was
For sure.
personal. You saying I'm a
I
fake water drinker?
I do love an iced water, but like when it's in my water bottle and as we're like getting down and the ice dissipates, then I'll drink room temperature water until my water bottle's empty. Do you add ice into it if it starts to get cooled down?
So I actually changed up recently because when I started drinking more water, I was doing this fitness thing and I had to drink like a gallon a day. And that's really difficult to do when it's iced. It's hard to measure how much water you drink when it's iced. So I actually, to make it easier on myself, I had it cold. So I had like refrigerated water that I would pour into my big old hydro flask so that I could at least still have the cold water, but it wasn't hard to drink with it being ice water and, measuring and whatnot. So ever since then, I realized I drink more water when I don't have ice in it. But yes, to answer your question, I did, if I got down to the bottom, or if there ended up being like no ice, then I would, anytime I go fill up my water bottle, I would add more ice to my water bottle, but I wouldn't like add it. But I also drink it faster than the ice melted because it's a hydro flask. So.
Oh yeah. I honestly hate when I finish the water and there's still ice in it. Like, it makes me mad because I'm like, now I have to add water to the ice that should have melted, and we wouldn't have been out of water if the ice just did its job and melted.
Oh, that's awesome. Not the perfectionist in you getting.
So then, what about next?
Well, it's just like you're wasting time. Ice is wasting my time. Like, I need you, but you're also sometimes wasting my time.
I do not have time for this. I do not have time for you.
That's awesome. I feel like
Except when I'm on a road trip and I need to refill the water, and I'm like, thank goodness there's still ice in here because the extra water bottle in the back is always going to be warm because it's been sitting in the car for hours, That's the only time it's acceptable.
I feel like for me, I learned how to, because I used to only drink ice water growing up and stuff. It was just, the hard thing was, it's hot in California. Our ice maker machine would just stop working sometimes, or, Dad would fill his cup up with ice, which is why it was a free-for-all for everyone.
He always had the perfectly iced water. Yeah.
Yes, he did. I don't know how. So we would all just like drink the community cup of our fathers. But I learned how to not drink ice water when it just wasn't an option anymore, which was when I went to college, and there was just no ice makers, and I didn't buy an ice tray. And if you do buy an ice tray, then your roommates are using it, and then no one ever refills it. So there's never any ice. I just didn't go through that hassle. So I just learned how to drink a lot of room temperature water a lot. So, and now when I go to restaurants or whatever, or not restaurants, but like fast food or whatever, and I get like a cup of water with my food, I'll go to the soda fountain and fill up my water, but I won't put ice in it because I'd rather just have more water than have ice in half the water. So, and the water is usually cold. The water is usually cold at that.
Yeah. Because speaking of soda, I actually don't like iced soda. I prefer soda closer to room temperature.
That's weird.
That is weird.
That's very strange.
I definitely like my soda cold.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't like ice. It's fine if it's cold, but I don't like it sitting on ice. I don't like it with ice because it changes like the amount of like fizziness of the soda, and it's kind of painful a little bit.
So what about next day water then? When you like go to bed, you have your water bottle.
It's literally when you wake up and you're parched and all you have is like yesterday water sitting next to you. You literally just like, you have to drink it, but it's disgusting.
With the amount of water bottles that I left under my bed,
they were always hoarded under your bed.
I definitely drank next day water. For sure.
But it's not enjoyable. You do it, but it's not enjoyable. It's actually kind of gross. I never thought about it until recently, and then I was like, yeah, no, I think I just like gag it down, and then I immediately like go get new water.
I was like, why is this so tepid? That's so funny.
Because it's like I'm also not gonna go and put ice in it and add fresh water to the old water. No. You either dump it or you drink it.
Like contaminated that way. Erin, oh my goodness. I have a Brita, right? Pitcher that I keep my cold water in the fridge. And one day, I don't remember what we were doing, but I had asked Erin to fill up my water bottle before we went somewhere. And I drink it and I'm like, this tastes like sink water. And I was like, how do you know the difference? But yes, I filled it up at the sink. Like, how dare you
not know the difference is my question. People who say that water doesn't have a taste, they're wild. Like, they're wild.
I don't understand that one. That's crazy.
Yeah, insane. I mean, it probably helped for us to have like pure California well water that we grew up in. And then to go to New Mexico that had like nasty.
It was so gross.
Like disgusting water. It was only drinkable with a cup full of ice. Like you could sip it, but it was so gross. And so having those two vastly different flavors of water, I think made us like more attentive. But honestly, I really try to drink tap water to get used to it from every place I go, unless it's really disgusting.
Okay, and with that being said, too, something I don't understand is the hate that Dasani water gets, because I always really liked Dasani water. Comparatively, like Arrowhead water is the worst, out of the water bottles. But Dasani water, I always super enjoyed it. And I was drinking it the other day, actually, like Dasani water. And I was thinking, maybe people don't like it because it kind of tastes like there's minerals in it. And I know if you're not used to drinking mineral water, it's not going to taste good to you. And so I'm like, maybe that's what it is. But I don't really get the hate.
I mean, yeah, we had like the raw, unfiltered, straight from the ground stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't grow up with a softener. We didn't grow up with a filter. And people who use filters, like it literally filters as much as it can out. And so with like the Dasani or spring water, you can taste the minerals, and people don't like tasting health,
Are those the same people that also didn't drink water from the hose as kids?
I think so.
Water hit different, though.
It did.
You had to wait. It was always in summer, and you had to wait until it cooled down. Otherwise, you'd like hold it to your lips, and that fresh burst of hot water hits you.
Oh my gosh, so
burned, second-degree burn. It was like drinking hot cocoa, too hot.
Who needs lip filler when you had scorching hot hose water flowing on your lips? Oh man, yeah, no, hose water. I remember someone told me that there was like fish poop in hose water one time, and I was like, it didn't stop me from drinking it.
Yeah, my brothers would always tell me there were frogs in the hoses, and so I just let it run, and if the frogs didn't come out, I drank it anyway.
But yeah, I don't know. Cold water is definitely superior to room temperature. But I mean, if you're out in the
even after getting used to it, you think it's still superior?
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I don't need ice in my water all the time, but I do like cold water opposed to like warm room temperature water. But I did want to say, Tara, that I at work I have like a water cup, and I leave and I try to time my day, like my water intake, with the end of my work day, but it doesn't always work sometimes. So sometimes I have like half a cup of water when I leave, and I don't just dump it.
Don't tell me that
No.
add to your water.
Talk to just let me talk to you, okay? When I get in the next day, I will take it to the break room and fill it up with ice and water and drink it.
Do not stop doing that immediately, please.
I'm not gonna lie.
First of all, it's a health hazard. It's a safety hazard. If you've left it there unattended, stop doing that. Stop. please.
Yeah, even at home, like if I, at night don't drink all of my water from my hydro flask, the next morning I'll dump it out. And I'll look at myself and go, why am I dumping the same water out that I'm about to put into my cup again? But I still do it every time because it just feels wrong.
Oh my gosh. But it's like I always need water in the morning to like help me wake up. But half the time I end up drinking whatever is left in my water bottle before I fall asleep. And then there's like, a tiny sip left. But I also hate having next day water in the morning. It's gross. I would love for them to like install like a water fountain next to your beds. So then you could just like reach over and fill it up for the morning.
Just have like basically like a Keurig kind of thing where you can set it on a timer, but just have like a little mini like water cooler so you have a cup under there and at a specific time it goes off and it fills up your cup.
I was thinking more of like the dentist, like rinse thing.
That would be ultimate luxury.
Who wants
That's
coffee in the morning when you could have water?
You can have cool water. I don't even need ice. It just has to be fresh, cool water. Oh, yikes. Yeah. And so we definitely can taste the difference in water. And that is definitely from our many travels.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And nothing makes you thirstier than immediately hitting the road on a road trip and realizing you're dying of thirst all of a sudden.
You go 30 minutes down the road. That's it. And you're like, I'm parched.
You're like, does anybody bring water? Yeah. Seriously, it's like we could be driving into the apocalypse and never see water again. What were we thinking of leaving the house without water? It's crazy. It's very crazy. So yeah, we wanted to have a little discussion on traveling. And just we have been big road trippers growing up. We never really did out of the country traveling, but we have traveled a lot of our country. So with that, it's interesting because I always want to like travel places, but not everybody's always available. And I do have friends who have gone on like solo, like big trips, like to different countries. And I'll be honest with you, I can do like a small like weekend or like a hike or like a visit to somewhere, but I don't think I could ever book like an amazing trip alone. I don't think I could ever be a solo like hardcore traveler. What do you guys think?
I agree. Because I feel like a big part of traveling, at least when you're going somewhere new, is experiencing it with somebody. And it's just no fun, like having these experiences and coming back and being like, who am I supposed to reminisce with about these things that I saw or did or, whatever. Whereas, like you were saying, if you're going somewhere to like visit, for example, like I drive a good 4 hours down to visit my friends some weekends and it'll literally just be a day trip, but I'm just driving to go see my friends. And so I have a destination in mind. I've been there before. It's nothing new and that's not a problem. Like I can do the 4 hours there and back in one day. I don't really consider that like traveling. It's just, gonna go visit people. But yeah, no, if I'm like going somewhere new, I always thought the idea was really cool to travel by myself and like go out of country and, do all these things. But then I'm like, I feel like I'd be so scared though. I feel like I'd be so concerned about, I know that I'm terrible when it comes to directions. And if I don't have somebody there helping me or at least getting lost with me so I'm not alone and lost, I'm going to struggle and I'm going to panic and I'm going to probably cry. So I think it's just better that I'm with somebody.
And then you can panic with them instead.
Exactly.
Yeah, one of my friends from college, she did a lot of solo traveling, and I really do admire people who can solo travel. I think that it's really cool. At one point, I was like, yeah, that's definitely like the epitome of like independence and is just and self-confidence is traveling alone. And I definitely think that I probably could do it, but I think growing up, all of our travels were forced shared experiences because we were little and like had a family. And so it's really nice to, yeah, have to share that travel experience with someone else.
Yeah, 'cause we
Otherwise,
still
it's just
reminisce so much about the trips that we've all been on together. There's
Mhm.
no point there's no, like, childhood trips where we're like, "Were you there?" It's like, "No, you were there because it was,
for Robbie and Daniel,
specifically
sorry
forced."
to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and I think that that's a big part of it for me. I think that when I do travel alone, because I mean, I just went back and forth from California to Hawaii while I was going to school there, and definitely a lot of things happened, but and that's probably the upside of traveling by yourself is when you have a crazy experience, you can blow it out of proportion to others.
Teddy, I think you need
You
to
can
stop
big fish
doing
it.
that.
No, that's real, that's real. Now, and I think from what you were saying, Tawny, it's like when you go to places like multiple times, I think that actually does help because I have traveled to grandma's house in New Mexico during college by myself just to go visit her. And even though now she's not there anymore, I think I could still go back to New Mexico by myself and like mosey on around. So I think that helps is because I could probably even go to Hawaii and like do my own thing at this point. But I
Yeah.
don't think I could do it solo in a new place. Because then, like, even when you go to these places that you've been with other people, you're still able to reminisce because you were there together and you can be like, oh my gosh, this time when I went, and it it helps bring keep the soloness away, I guess.
I feel
Yeah.
like if I
That's a
did
very
a
good
solo
point.
travel, it would be more of like a resort spa experience or something to relax and give myself me time. But if I'm traveling somewhere to go around and experience, then I don't know. There's no trip that I've ever planned on my own that I'm like, I'm so excited to do all of this alone.
Well, I wonder if that has something to do with that none of us really like vacation friends. And if you're traveling alone, like a lot of times you run into vacation friends.
Explain what vacation friends is, though, real quick.
You're like, let me have a buddy so I don't get roped into vacation friends.
Vacation friends is when you go on vacation and you run into other people who are vacationing there that they're complete strangers and you become friends with them just because you guys are on the same vacation spot together. And I'm not about vacation friends. Like, I don't want to get to know strangers. I'm so good. So good.
Yeah, I'm not here to spend my time talking to you and getting to know you in your life. I'm here to experience what's around me right now. And I don't mean that in a super rude way. It's coming up really rude, but I don't mean it that way. I just
So
feel
rude.
That's why I said strangers, stranger danger.
if it's my everyday setting, sure, I'll sit there and have a conversation with somebody that I don't know. But if I'm here to experience something new, please don't talk to me.
Your life is
I'm here to
irrelevant to
experience
mine.
you.
Well, because it's even like even situations where it's like you're on a vacation, even with a friend, and you start talking to these random group of people, and they're like, "Oh, we're about to like go on a yacht. Do you guys want to come join?" And I'm like, "No, no, I don't, stranger. I don't want to join. I don't want to be your yacht friend. No, thank you. Like, I'm not about it."
Yeah, I probably would have been like, yeah.
Maybe when I was like 22, but definitely not much after that.
Even at this point, I'd be like, sure, let's go.
I would not.
But maybe not by myself, but if I had someone with me, yeah, I'd be like, yes, let's do this.
Did I
But
have plans that day already? Because that's going to change things. I don't know.
You're like, do I have better plans? Probably.
Ooh, yacht or this other thing I was going to do.
that's really funny. Yeah,
But I think, I don't know, is there anywhere you guys would go solo? Like,
Scotland.
if there was a place you really, really wanted to go, would you be willing to go there solo?
Scotland and Switzerland.
That was so quick. Why?
Well, because first of all, I actually, before Aaron and I even got married, I was looking into living in Switzerland for just like a year or so, just for the experience of it. So, I mean, it was going to be by myself, right? So I was looking into that. So, I mean, it just seems like a beautiful place. And especially I was looking, in the area where you're close to the other countries that surround it. And so it would have been, cool to just kind of go places, I guess, but still like living in that area. So I did it like on my time and I wasn't like rushed or had like a specific schedule to stick to. So that's why Switzerland, and then Scotland, just because I've always wanted to go to Scotland. And I don't know, I think it would be kind of cool to just go around and visit all the like places in like Inverness, for example. I want to go to Inverness. And just because I want to go so bad and I've wanted to go for so long, absolutely, yes, I would go by myself if I had, if it came down to like that was the only way that I could go, then I would do it. Sorry, Aaron.
Mine would be Antarctica, just because I don't think anybody would want to go with me. And I would love to go to Antarctica.
Well, this sucks.
I would go by myself.
Well, this sucks.
Yeah. I think people have a misconception, kind of not, about Antarctica, and I think they'd be too afraid to do it. But I would love to go to Antarctica.
That'd be pretty cool. I'll go to Antarctica with you, Tara.
That's why I put this out there, because I truly don't want to go anywhere alone. So
Yeah, I would absolutely go. But so it's a vacation that we would take that we weren't meeting someone else there.
yeah. Like, if there's some place you want to go so badly that you'd be willing to go by yourself.
Maybe Thailand. If I went somewhere alone, it would be like more of a self-discovery journey type of
Like
thing.
Bali.
Yeah, but I don't think I would want to go to Bali by myself.
I'm like, neither would I.
So maybe Thailand, because at least there are elephants that I can hang out with. Yeah,
You're impressed when you have elephants.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so then what would be the most luxurious dream vacation you would take versus like the most budget-friendly vacation you would take?
That, and it's like a dream vacation or one that I'm already like planning.
Probably a dream. Unless, I don't know. Unless you're about to do your dream vacation.
I mean, luxurious would be as many countries as I could possibly fit for as long as I could possibly travel, and stay in all the cool places. Not only like the nice places, but the like off the beaten path, like small, nobody really knows about it, but it's like the greatest experience places. But yeah, that would be really, really expensive. So
I think for me, it would probably be like a tropical getaway, but like private islands kind, where everything's catered, and I just have, a cool private island to go to and hang out and bring whatever friends I want to bring, and we all just have a good time, sort of deal. But everything's paid for, like, and I pay for everyone who's coming. And yeah, and then having like a bunch of fun water stuff like parasailing or jet skis or something like that.
I need you to anticipate before I actually know I want it.
It would be like the Glass Onion if it wasn't a murder mystery, and it was just like a really nice getaway.
I can see that. It's like a mix between The Incredibles and Glass Onion style.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like I have a really hard time imagining like a really luxurious one. I feel like my situation would be more like going to places that aren't typically available to go for travelers, just because of like contention or like riskiness. Kind of like, I don't know, between like the Middle East and Russia and Asia kind of a thing. I think
Yeah.
even like Egypt or Africa, like places like that would be amazing to go experience, because they have so many hidden gems that we just don't even know but there's so much contention, and people there probably don't even visit it because it's just risky. And I think that is what I would do if I could just like, if I had the ability to shake a hand, throw money at them, and like be able to get into places that they don't allow.
I'm thinking of like The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, where he goes to the warlords or whatever
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love
Kind of
that
like
movie.
the journalist things, but without having to like be there for a job.
without working. It's just
Without like working because it's a vacation. Yeah, and
yeah.
I think it's because of that where I'm like, I don't know, just because I'm used to traveling on a budget and not really throwing money at traveling. Because it turns out there are just so many ways to get good travel options by not throwing money at it. And I think you just have to be smart.
Well, a
I
lot
get
of times, especially right now, the most expensive thing is going to be flights anywhere. But there's a lot of places like Aaron and I were looking at, like Tulum, for example, that we wanted to go just to like get out of the country and just, do a little bit of traveling somewhere we've never been. And even that is basically the actual trip itself is less expensive than the plane tickets to get there. And that's for a good like week long stay and, everything included. So it just kind of the part that sucks the most right now is how expensive flights are, and I hate flying. Not because I'm scared of anything, just because it's the worst experience in the world.
It's literally like the most, like the fact that you can drive somewhere and be on your time, have your personal space, listen to whatever you want without having headphones is so much better than having to cramp in, no matter like what class you are in on a plane. Like it's gross. And you have
Yeah.
to be around people, and people are gross and noisy and annoying. Yeah, it's like they should literally just start sedating people on planes so that we can all just get through it and
Stick
not
us
have to
in
deal with each other.
quads.
Literally.
No, I was on a 13-hour flight one day when I visited Australia, and I didn't pee the entire time that I was on that plane because I was like, I was on a window seat, and I was like, there's no way that I'm getting up, walking past these people to go down. Maybe I have anxiety when it comes to things like that because I'm like, what if I get there and there's like a line already? Like, do I have to stand at that line? Do I go back to my seat and then come back later? So I just overthink it. So I just didn't pee. I was like, it's not worth it. I don't have to go. I'm fine. And then I don't know if it was that same flight or a different flight, a lady took out of her bag boiled eggs and peeled them on the plane.
That's disgusting. She should be arrested
hates
for that.
everyone. Yeah.
She should be fined.
Goes to jail.
On the way back, I was a 3-seat, right? So it was me and this lady in the middle and her husband next to her. And in front of us was 2 seats, and I don't know why there was only 2, but I figured out halfway through the flight that the husband had moved up to the 2 seats and the wife stayed in the middle seat next to me.
No, people are crazy. People who say they're like, flying is so great except when a child is kicking my seat and I have to deal with it. I'd be like, never in my life would I deal with it. I would have turned around, knocked that child out, and moved on. Like, that's insanity. I would never allow someone to allow their child to harass me on any amount of time plane.
No.
Take a look. No.
Hey, come here. If you don't stop screwing around back there, this is what I'm gonna do with you.
Yeah, I definitely have turned around. I definitely have had kids kick my seat, and I have turned around. And they usually just stop, like, I don't have to ask or
You just
anything.
have to make eye contact with them.
Yeah, I'm just, like, looking to be like, "Who is doing this?" And
It's
then
that passive-aggressive look, that's why.
that's scary enough. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I'm not trying to beef with anyone on the plane, I'm just trying to, like, sleep and watch movies and get through
You're
it.
just trying to not be kicked in the back. Like, that's a
Yeah.
pretty normal thing to have from life, you know?
And I
Like,
get
that would be part of my luxury travels is a private plane to get me wherever I need to go.
yeah, no, for sure.
I also wish that planes were as quiet as they are in like movies and TV because they're not. I don't understand how people can just sit there and have a normal conversation. Well, obviously the plane's not on, but I'm like, that's not real. I can't hear a
so
word
loud.
you're
It
telling me
like
half the
gives
time.
you like a throbbing headache like halfway through. You're like, can the
Yeah,
plane
it's like
please
worse than a
shut up?
concert.
That's so wild. I literally just tune everything out if I can. I'll just like I don't. And
Well,
with
have you
like
noticed you have to turn if you're listening to something through your headphones, you have to turn up the volume so you can
oh
actually
yeah.
hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the plane is really loud too. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm super deaf anyways. But unless someone's having like a conversation that I think is interesting, I'll be like, "Mm." But
Buddy, just read their text messages. That's what I do all the time.
just a little bit of a
I do
side
the
I mean, people usually aren't having that interesting of they're just like, I'm on the flight, I'll be here then, blah blah blah. They're usually just giving like flight info. But every now and then
from
you get a
Taylor's
good one.
experiences.
Oh, as soon as I see a phone flip out in my eyesight, I am locked in for sure.
So this is my in-flight entertainment, guys.
Yes. Literally,
I
if
will
we could
literally
just
strike
all
up a
pass our
conversation.
phones around, if we could literally all just pass our phones around and read each other's texts from complete strangers, that would be amazing.
I had to figure out how to start a conversation with this guy because he was scrolling through pictures on his phone of the temple in Hawaii. And I was like, oh, I know what that is. And I was like, let me figure out how to start this conversation without him knowing that I was looking at the pictures on his phone.
So
good.
just look at any other thing that he's wearing or around him to see if it signals enough.
Do you guys have any favorite budget trip suggestion or trip experiences? Or I don't know. What's the thing you look for most to save money on some sort of vacation?
Flights. So I will get like super strategic with flights. I will look at everything as far as bags and what's available. I will look at flying in or out different places. I will book a flight from one place to like Vegas or some other non-destination airport and then try and line it up with another flight myself. Like I will I will go crazy with flights, with like researching flights to be like, what is going to be the best and the most convenient without like, because I'm not going to do like a 46-hour flight from
Yeah.
Salt Lake to Fresno, like I'm not going to do that. But I will look at everything a lot.
That's so funny because I feel like flights for me, I just like mentally prepare and ultimately for me it's like a sunk cost and I figure out other ways to save. That's really funny.
Yeah, same here.
No, I start with the flights. I definitely start with the flights because I know that I can find something better than whatever Google Flights is showing me. So.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, you can start watching my flights for me from now on. I'll go to you for that.
Please don't. It's very stressful.
This is why we pay travel agents.
Teddy loses 5 years off her life every time she does this. But you also get the right terrible luck with flights, Teddy. So
I do. So I should probably stop. But whatever.
If you get the right credit card, like they'll do it for you. They'll like make it easy for you. But
that's really what I should do. Is just get a freaking credit card.
Yeah, you gotta have the right status on that.
But yeah,
honestly, I'm not very good at budgeting for trips. I haven't been on a trip in a really long time, like anything new. But what I prefer to do is budget at home so that I can, not have to super be worried about it on the trip.
So like Tawni's like the whole trip's a sunk cost. I'm mentally prepared to spend all the money.
That's it. We're done.
Like, and if I spend less, then I was frugal.
You don't need electricity this month because we're gonna go.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I
I
use
can't eat for the next month, so I can eat on my trip. Perfect.
yeah. No, literally.
Win-win. I also look good.
You're like, I'm not gonna buy any clothes this month so that I can afford this trip.
I guess no athletics for me.
That's wild. I definitely buy trip clothes when applicable.
Which is so funny because you see this thing on social media where they're like, you wear the same clothes every day for people who see you all the time just to buy new clothes for strangers to see you in the new clothes that you'll probably won't wear back home.
No. That is not what it is. It is not about the strangers. It is about
Oh, I know.
yourself.
I know. I know. I just thought that was funny that they pointed out. And I was like, okay, he's not wrong, but also we won't stop.
He's not wrong, but he's also completely missing the point.
Yeah,
So,
it's also not the point.
if this
I
is
feel
a
like
vacation, I'm going to feel good too and look
Yes.
good. So
Yeah, you don't want to spend money on a vacation just to feel like sloppy on a vacation
exactly.
for sure.
I feel like
Yeah.
a sunk cost for me though is definitely food. I want food. Like wherever I'm going. I want that
culinary
food.
experience.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be like, that's a little expensive because I'm like, I don't care, I want to try it. I'm not gonna be here another time.
No,
So,
I definitely. Well, I see, and that's why I prefer to like budget at home with, especially if I know I'm going on a trip. I prefer to like save up for it because I want to be able to. If I see an experience, I'm like, that would be so cool to do. I want to be able to do that thing. Otherwise, for me, it's experiences. I'm not going to pay a ton of money so I can go swim with these dolphins, like dolphins. Because like whatever, they're just no. But it's one of those things where it's like if I can do it in multiple places, then it's not worth it to do it here. I would rather do things, but there's a lot of free things to do in a lot of places too. So there's a lot of free things to see or things that are super inexpensive. Like when we're going to get into this in a minute, but like when Mom, Dad, and Tara visited for my birthday, I really wanted to go to Lancaster, which is a really big Amish town in Pennsylvania. And there was this cute little tour that was super inexpensive. And I was like, this would be really cool to do because we still get to like see things and experience like the Amish culture. But, it's way less expensive than staying in like a nice hotel or spending money on all the like touristy stuff or whatever. So for me, it's definitely, I feel like I do, I guess, budget a lot more on the experiences because there's a lot that you can do that's free or less expensive. And I do a lot of research before I go to these places. I'm very much an itinerary person and make sure that I get in what I want to out of it. And I do all sorts of research. I look at all sorts of different websites. I'll ask people who have been there beforehand, what's your tips? What's something that you suggest? What's like a must do or must see so that I'm prepared when I'm there so that I'm not, just last minute spending money on a ton of things.
So in other words, we are not wing it travelers because there is a method to the madness and it ain't fun when we just have to like wing it and like throw money at things. I think my biggest yeah, it's expensive. Well, it can be for sure. I think my biggest thing is I tend to position myself as when I'm traveling to travel through family friendly area, like literal family areas. And, take not advantage, but take advantage of like relationships to be like, oh, stay here this night. Even when I'm flying, I feel so much more comfortable when I have a layover near family because there have been situations where you get trapped there and it's so much better when you have a family member to like bail you out so you don't have to go to some creepy hotel that you can't get to on a creepy bus. And but I think I definitely take like our dad's strategy by, traveling around family locations to and from my destination is yeah. And that helps me like feel better about driving than flying too. If I know, oh, if I drive, then I can see a family member and like visit them on the way.
Yeah, we are very, very blessed as far as the amount of family that we have scattered across
Yeah,
the country. So,
for sure. Which, is kind of part of the reason why when I was like, oh yeah, I can go down to for Tawny's birthday, no problemo. It's still a quick little 12-hour drive down to Pennsylvania for her birthday to meet my parents and all that jazz. So yeah, we got to hang out with Tawny for her birthday. And like she said, we went to Lancaster, we went to Hershey's, Pennsylvania, which I think Teddy's like the last person we really got to get there. Now
Yeah.
that Tommy's been.
yeah.
What else did we do? We went to Camp David, which was cool. Our dad absolutely loved that. It was a good time. It was busy. We loved
After
it.
yeah, who was I talking to when I said when we vacation hard. So once we're done with our vacation, we need a vacation from our vacation because we get the most that we can
Like I
out of
did.
vacations. But yeah, even after you left mom and dad, because they were here an extra day, and we actually went to Gettysburg too, while they were here because mom and dad wanted that. I think one of my favorite parts was after we picked up mom and dad from the airport. It's like midnight. We picked mom and dad up from the airport, and as we're driving home, because dad grew up out here, he literally grew up about an hour and a half away from where I live. We would pass, those signs that tell you, like this city and such miles. And so he would point at it and tell us a story about that city and about something that he did while he was in that city or something he remembers about it. And it was one of my favorite things where he'd be like, oh, is like this lake or pond or whatever near you guys? And, so then he would tell a story about that. And then he'd be like, oh, there's the sign for it. And it was super fun to watch him like take that trip down memory lane. It was cute.
That's really cool. How was the rest of your birthday?
It was good. It was super busy. I had a lot of family because Tara got there, and then that same night is when we picked up mom and dad from the airport in Baltimore. And that was Wednesday night, super early Thursday morning. And then Thursdays was my birthday, and we went to Hershey that day. Every time that people come and visit, I force them to do the historical tour at Hershey because it's my favorite thing. It is the coolest experience. I not only highly suggest it, but would probably force anybody to do it if they came and visited Hershey because it's mind-blowing. And the best part is at the end, the story that they tell about Milton Hershey, and Tara and I audibly gasped when we went because it's just so cool. But yeah, so I've probably done that about 4 or 5 times. And when Dallas and Nisa were visiting me, we actually didn't do the tour. But I told them the entire history, and I pretty much got like everything because I've done it so many times. But I like refuse to be left behind because it's like I need to see people's reactions.
Well, you need to know how efficient the
conductor
was on
I
telling.
need to make sure they're doing it right.
Yeah, and the conductor we went to the first time was awesome, amazing. This last time, he did really good too, and he actually had like different facts that we didn't know, but we still end up leaving like telling everybody, oh, they missed this and they missed that. Let me tell you the other things that happened. But it's so good.
Tawny's going to be applying to be the historical conductor one of these days. She's be like, I already have this memorized.
That's like her retirement plan to be a conductor.
It's going to be a compilation of all the best parts of everybody.
And also the singing cow inside Hershey World.
Yeah, that I sing along with.
So
she's confident. She's chocolate.
Ain't it funny how a little sugar and cacao.
Cacao. That's cute. Yeah, I definitely need to come.
I've been there enough. But I will go when you're here, Teddy, because I just need to see your face when you smell the chocolate. His dad was even telling about how when they got back home, I think he got a hat from Hershey, and so he was wearing it, and all the guys at work were like, did you actually go to Hershey? Does it smell like chocolate? And they're like, what's it like? And he's like, it's like Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory. It's like his factory. They just eat
Dad is a celebrity of the people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so and we actually almost forgot to sing happy birthday to me. And I didn't blow any candles because it was just kind of a laid back day, it was pretty chill. Because we just had so much to do. And it was Friday that it snowed. So that sucked. Oh, because we went to the original Washington Monument first, because Dad, which was also really cool. I guess probably my favorite part of the entire trip was just watching Dad go down memory lane. Because as soon as we get there, he immediately is like, I was here this month 50 years ago.
That's so cool.
Right?
Look at us walking in our father's footsteps.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. And then Friday, his brother, so our uncle, and his wife, so our aunt and uncle, came down and visited and had dinner with us the same night that Mom's cousin, who lives in Virginia, who I got really close with, also came and visited for the weekend. So we had a pretty full house that night, which I love, but it's also tiring. We grew up that way, but I haven't been around, a ton of people all at once for long periods of time, and so long that I'm just like socially exhausted after a very short period of time.
You're like, we all need a break from each other, and we don't have to feel weird about it because we all know why. We're all just tired. We're not used to being around each other. It was actually really fun. It's always fun seeing Dad with his siblings, and since we don't get to see him with Uncle Matthew very often, it's just so fun to see them sitting side by side and being like, these guys are brothers. It's so adorable. And then listening to Mom and Roxy just like talk about their childhood is so cute, and about like their grandparents, like they're little kids again. It was very reminiscent of a trip for sure.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
That's why if we're doing it well enough, any trip we take is a family reunion. So
practically.
Yeah, and then like I was saying, we had also gone to Lancaster on Saturday. It's not Lancaster. They get really angry at you for saying it wrong. It's Lancaster, Pennsylvania. But yeah, so like a couple weeks beforehand, I'd been looking into things to do because I really wanted to go to Amish country. That was like my big thing that I wanted to do for my birthday. And there was this thing called the Best Kept Secrets tour. So that's, you buy tickets, and again, they were super inexpensive, and it gives you this like map kind of thing, this list of all these different places to go. So that you can get like a ticket, you get your name put in a drawing, but then you can also just see these cute little stores, these like bakeries, these what do they call them? Like the thrift store kind things, a lot of plant nurseries, bakery. Did I say that already? Anyway, so basically there's a bunch of different places to go, and you drive through all the little towns in Lancaster County and see all the
many Amish buggies, which was so cool. It was my first time. Saw so many people riding buggies. It was cute.
That was really cool.
Yeah. So that one was actually really stressful for me because the list has like 40 something places on it. So obviously you can't get it done in a whole day. And so I was getting really stressed out because we were running out of time, and I have never been in charge before because I'm the second youngest kid in the family. So I've never been in charge before. And I was like getting stressed out because I was like, I don't know what everybody's going to want to go to. We have to narrow down these stores. Everybody's hungry. Like we need to, I need to make sure they're having a good time. And I'm not having a good time because I'm stressed.
Do you just walk around all day thinking about other people's feelings?
Yeah, don't you?
No. How do you get anything done?
It's hard.
Well, the sister who usually does all the planning is sitting back watching and judging everything you do.
Literally sleeping in the car between spots and being like, oh, are we here? Oh, how nice. Wake me at the next spot.
This must have been what it was like for her growing up.
This must be what it's like for the rest of the world. I had zero intention of taking charge. Sure.
No, and that's good. I didn't want you to, but I hope it was fun. I mean, Mom said everybody had a good time, so I hope everybody had a good time. We got a lot of free plants, oddly enough.
We got a lot of free things, for sure.
Did we get a lot of free things?
It was really cute, and it definitely would be fun if you're like staying there to make it like a whole weekend thing and stuff like that. But I really liked it. It was a lot of fun.
That's
Definitely
really
a
cute.
different experience that not many places do, and I think more places should do it because it really helps you get to know like these little hidden gems and appreciate the culture of those areas.
Mhm. Yeah, we were talking about the different cities that we've like been to or lived in that would be super cool to um
To integrate that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think even like here in Traverse City, I think that would be genius of them because
Traverse City
they have
has
a
so
whole
many cool
vibe.
things.
Yeah, they have a whole vibe that would work really well for them to do that here.
It'd be super cool. But yeah, so it ended up being fun. It ended up being a good day. And then of course we did breakfast Sunday morning because I'm a breakfast person. And yeah, so I didn't really get to relax for my birthday. I got to play host, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time, and yeah, I think everybody else had a good time. I feel like though, because we've talked about birthdays a lot recently, because a few of us have birthdays pretty close together, and I was talking to a friend of mine actually about just like getting older. And so this a couple different conversations, but one of them, she had popped her head in one day. I was at an activity for church. She popped her head in one day and she was like, I'm getting old. Like I'm getting wrinkles. And she's in like her 30s, right? So she's not old. But she's like, I'm starting to look old and I just don't know how I feel about it. And so I was telling her, oh yeah, like I just turned 27. And I get really flattered when people say these kinds of things to me because it just like, this is exactly how I want to live my life. But she was like, for not even being 28, you've lived a lot of life. And I'm like, thank you. That's exactly what I
Wow,
want.
that is flattering.
It's so flattering. It makes me feel really good. And not to gloat that much about it, but I'm going to gloat about it because I do want to fit a lot into my life and I do want to fit a lot into my years. So I was talking to another friend about it recently, and to Tara's point, how you had mentioned that that you enjoy getting older and you don't have an issue with like aging or anything like that. And when you see other people that are hitting these milestones that like you babysat or you knew when they were babies and you're like, you're getting older, but I'm not getting older. For me, I guess my fear almost as far as getting older, because I don't mind aging, but for me, my fear of getting older is, am I going to have enough time to fit all the things that I want to do into my life? Am I going to be able to go see all the things, learn all the things, experience all the things that I have my sights set on before I get to a point where I can't anymore? And am I going to ever get to a point that I can't anymore? Or am I just going to continue doing what I'm doing, So
Yeah.
my goal
No,
is
that's
to get as much as I can into my years as young as I can so that I can then continue to do it for the rest of my life and do more.
yeah, that's definitely a huge thing that I think a lot of people fear.
Yeah, and you put me in mind of something, Tawny. That's kind of beautiful. And you know how you in California where we grew up, there's the sequoia trees that just and the redwoods and they just grow forever and ever and ever and they're
Yeah.
years old and they're just always growing. And I feel like there's a difference between aging and growing because when you're growing this amount of years, you're becoming more and you're getting, like a tree, you're getting higher and higher and you're going through all of these experiences and you're taking them in and they're changing you and they're adding to your life. And I think that like that's a beautiful concept that you've grown for 27 years. You're just not 20, you haven't aged 27 years old, So I feel like that's a gorgeous thing. Even if you don't get all of the experiences that you want, what's important is that the experiences that you have had like fit into your life have helped you grow more as a person throughout these years. So, anyways,
Definitely.
what you were
Yeah,
saying.
absolutely. No, I think that's
Yeah.
a really cool concept because that's also something that we grew up with, like with dad, who, like he was saying in previous episode, he would have friends that would tell him, these stories about these things they did. And he'd be like, oh, that's really cool. I'm going to go do it too. And then he'd go do it and come back. And the friends would be like, I never actually did that. And he's like, then why would you tell me that you did? Like, you should because it's cool. And so even telling us stories, I'm like, when did you fit this into your life? Are you a cat? Like, do you have 9 of them? How do you do this? So it's my goal in life for people to be like, when did you do these things? I actually had another friend recently tell me, because I started volunteering at this horse farm. They don't farm horses, they rescue them. At this horse rescue where, and all I really do right now is I just feed. But I want to have my own horses eventually. So I'm like, I need to get to know how to take care of horses hands-on without just like reading it and then throwing myself in there. And so a friend of mine recently told me, he was like, you are always doing something new, and that's really cool. And I'm like, thank you. Like, I really appreciate that. I'm not doing it so people are like, Tawni, you're so cool, even though it's a perk, because I am pretty cool. I do it because I'm like, I want to do these things, and I want to learn these things, and I want to grow. So yeah.
And I think it will help your anxiety on like getting to go to all the places that you really dreamed by creating a life that you love so much that everything extra is adding on extra. And that's like, creating like routines that fulfill you, and like hobbies and people that fulfill you the most, where anything extra just adds on to living your best life essentially. And I think that's something that, is important to strive for, is creating that foundation of a fulfilling life so that you can have that fulfillment and you won't feel disappointed if you miss out on travels or certain experiences and stuff. Because unfortunately, in this world today, not everything is going to be available forever. And that can obviously cause anxiety, like the sequoias, for example. The fact that the drive-through tree is no longer standing is terrible. And I feel so bad for people who like aren't even born, who will never get to experience that, because the earth changes and things change. So yeah.
That's why I always said, if there's something that you want to do, make it a priority to just go and do it. Like, it's great to talk about it and it's great to dream about it, but you can do it. It is possible to go do. And a lot of these things, yeah, they can be kind of expensive, but that's where you cut out things that you spend that you don't necessarily need to. And that's where you find ways to find discounts, or just other ways around it where you can learn these experiences. Like, I volunteer at this horse farm, and I'm up 5:30 in the morning so I can go feed in the mornings, but I want to do it because I want to get this knowledge and experience. So I'm gonna go do it. It may not be a long-term thing, it may just be for a couple weeks or something like that, but I want to do it, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and 2 things. First of all, can we just talk about how it is in poor taste when something historical or landmarkish is destroyed out of for whatever reason? It is in poor taste to then post about it and be like, I'm so grateful that I was able to see this before that was destroyed. It's not, we don't love that. Can we just
not use misfortunes to make yourself feel lucky? That's terrible.
Yeah, let's not make it about you and show off how it is that you were the person who was, had the timing right or the money right to go drive through the sequoia tree or whatever. Let's just not. Let's stop that culture.
I feel so bad for everybody who couldn't do it, because I got to, and it was the best experience ever. So it sucks for all the rest of you that this happened.
Tara's dying over there.
I'm gonna have to mute myself. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, that was a beautiful ending to this podcast.
Wait, Teddy said she had 2 things.
Oh yeah. What was your second?
Did, but I think I forgot the second one already. After that one,
I think enough was said on the first.
We got too excited.
There was a positive thing to follow up with it, but I don't remember what it was.
Well, let's say
was my second thing. I remember. I just think that not everyone are travelers either. And don't feel bad if you don't have a desire to travel other places, or if traveling for you is going to the next town over or whatever it is. Just, I think that the point of this is, don't feel limited by your mindset. I guess. If it's something that you want to do it. Like, figure it out. It'll probably be a little bit more elbow grease than, your normal day to day, but just don't feel limited by yourself is I think the message. Don't feel the pressure that like if you don't travel to all of these places, you're uncultured or you don't know anything. It's not that. It's just don't limit yourself like Tawny was saying.
Yeah, go get that degree. You don't have to travel to get a degree. Go learn piano. Go, buy a chicken. If you want to experience it, dang it, experience it, okay?
Yeah. And you're allowed to change your mind at any point.
Oh,
So
yeah. You're allowed
can
to not
change.
enjoy it and
Yep.
decide you don't like it.
Absolutely. You're allowed to stop something and you're allowed to start something different. So, yeah, thanks for listening. And ultimately, though, don't catch feelings, catch flights. Love you. Bye.
Love you, bye.
Thank you for listening to Wild&T. This podcast episode was produced and edited by Teddy Chanboon, Kyron Maciel, and Dallas Hanson. Remember to subscribe, rate, review, and of course, share with your sisters. For more content, you can follow Wild&T on all platforms or our individual socials. See you next week.